Gemma from Concrete Gems Crochet. I'm here today to walk you through a tutorial about making these lovely textured tweed pumpkins. Now everyone loves a crochet pumpkin, don't they? So I wanted to make one with lots of texture in this section. So so I came up with this design, and I really like how they've come out. So there's a small, a medium, and I'm going to be making a large one to show you now. I use this lovely Tweed Delight yarn by Hobby. It's 85% wool, 10% acrylic and 5% viscose, and it is a category 4 weight, so that's a worsted weight or an Aran if you're in the UK. So it's a medium weight. It's hand wash only, but that doesn't actually matter because we are making pumpkins and we're not going to be washing them anyway. I have also used a 5mm crochet hook. So the size isn't essential on this, obviously, because it's a pumpkin. If you use a different size hook, different yarn, whatever you've got, it will just change the size of it slightly. So that's all fine. I'm going to be making the large one today, but I'll also be telling you where you need to stop when you make the small one. You'll also need some toy stuffing, or if you don't have any, you can use yarn ends or that kind of thing, or an old teddy bear or an old cushion that doesn't need the stuffing anymore. All of those work. So this is a lovely yarn. I really love it. It's got lots of different speckles in. I'm going to be making this in the white one. There's lots of different colour options in the Tweed Delight, which you can choose, or any of your other yarn options are also good. So I'm going to start with a magic circle. This is how I do it, and I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel for it if you want to watch it in a bit more detail. But that's how I do my magic circle. So then we do 6 single crochet. So I'm talking in US terminology. So a single crochet in US is a double crochet in the UK. So I'm doing 6 into my ring. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm going to pull my ring tight. Okay, so then round 2, I'm going to carry on. We're working actually we are going to sorry, I forgot what we were making then. We're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch to join into a circle. Okay, so then we've got our first round complete. Round 2, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go straight into that very first stitch, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into each stitch around, and that will give us 12. So this is your standard amigurumi style increases, which make a circle. So I'm going to end up with 12 all the way around. Just fighting with the yarn for a minute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch to join. Okay. Now you might have a few gaps, but as long as they're not big, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can go down a hook size if you prefer, but I found that you can't really see the gaps, and because this yarn kind of changes thickness as it goes along, gets thicker and thinner, you'll find that it kind of covers up any gaps. So round 3, we are going to do a single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch all the way around, so we end up with 18 stitches at the end of this round. And that should be 18. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and then we slip stitch into that first one to join. Right, so you can see the pattern now. So we've done 18, we're now going to move on to the next round. So last round we did 1 single crochet and then 2 in the next stitch. This time we're going to do 2 single crochets, so 1 in each of the first 2 stitches and then 2 in the next stitch. And this will get us to 24. So 1 in this one, 1 in the next one, and 2 in the third one. Now you might find it useful to put stitch markers in as you're working around. Most people do. I, however, controversially don't use stitch markers and just prefer to keep count in my head, but that does mean that you get unstuck every now and then. So yeah, I'd recommend using stitch markers. So that should be 24, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. And the next round, after we chain 1, we're going to do a single crochet in the first 3 stitches and then 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And at the end of this round, we should have 30. 6, 7, 8, and 2 in this one, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And then we join to that very first stitch with a slip stitch. So the next round is round 6, and we are going to be making 36 stitches altogether. So we're going to do 4, so 1 into the first 4 stitches and then 2 into the 5th stitch. So that's 6, and we go 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Hope you're not counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and the last 2 stitches into there, 35 and 36, and then we join into the first. So if you're making a small pumpkin, you will stop doing your increases here and move on to the crunch stitch section, which I will show you. But if you're doing the medium and the large, you're going to be carrying on. So this one we are doing 5 stitches into the first, well, 1 stitch into each of the first 5 stitches, and then 2 in the next one, and we're going to end up with 42 stitches. When we get all the way around. That's our last 2 stitches there. So that's 42, and that is round 7. So if you're making the medium or the large, we are still carrying on. So we've done round 7, and now we'll do round 8. So round 8 will be 48 stitches. So that's 1 in the first 6 stitches. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and then 2 in the next one. That's my last 2 stitches of this round. That takes us to 48, and I'll slip stitch into that first stitch to end the round. So that's round 8. So if you're making the medium pumpkin, this is where you will stop doing your increases and you'll move on to the crunch stitch section of the pumpkin. But if you're doing the large pumpkin, we've got 2 more rounds to go. So we are going to chain 1, and we are going to do a single crochet into the first 7 stitches. And then we're going to do 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and we're going to repeat that all the way around, just as we have done with all of the others, and then we will end up with 54 stitches. So you see that each circle increases by 6 each time. So where have I got to? 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Right, so this is the end of this round. 54 stitches and a slip stitch into that. So we are now onto our round 10, which is the final increase round of the large pumpkin. So we're going to do a chain 1, then we're going to do 8 single crochets. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to do 2 in this one, and we're going to end up with 60 stitches all the way around when we get to the other end. Need to get better at being able to count and talk at the same time. Sorry about that. Right, so there we go. The last round of the large pumpkin. So that's 60. And then we're going to move on to the crunch section. So for the different size pumpkins, you want to do a different number of rounds for the crunch section, and we need to turn at the end of each round as well. So I will show you a couple of rounds and then I will tell you how many you need to do for each of the different sized pumpkins, and then I will let you get started. So we're going to chain 2 this time, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the same stitch. So this is, remember, US half double crochet, so there's a UK slip stitch, a UK half treble crochet. Slip stitch is the next stitch that we're doing, right? So in the next stitch, we're just going to do a slip stitch. And that's the pattern. So we do a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then we do a slip stitch. And this is how you create a crunch stitch. And it makes beautiful texture, and I really, really love it. I've got a bag which also uses the same stitch. And it's basically this, just going around. So once you've got into the rhythm of it, it's really quite nice. The hardest bit, I think, is the join at the end, and then turning and restarting, going the other way. So on subsequent rows after your first rounds, should I say, after your first round, you're going to be doing the half double crochet will go into the top of the slip stitch, and the slip stitch will go in the top of the half double crochet. And you can see that the difference, if you look at the sides, you can see that the one with the half double crochet has got that extra bar there. So that's the half double crochet stitch. So that's where you would do a slip stitch, and that's where you would do a half double crochet. And so I think that makes sense, hopefully. But we do need to turn at the end of each round, otherwise it doesn't work. Oh, it's a long old round. I'll whiz round and then I'll show you the join and the turning and the next row. If you're interested in the written pattern, then you can view it on my blog, or you can get by the premium PDF on Ravelry or on Etsy, and all the links are below in the description. And please give me a follow as well. I'd love to have you follow along my journey. I've got lots of interesting patterns coming and lots already there, and I'm really trying to get monetized. Right, so this is the end of the round, so you can see that that's my final stitch, which I'm doing a slip stitch into, and then I am going to, you have to look here, so that's your chain 2. Try and show you really up close so you can see. So that's your chain 2, and then this is your half double, the top of the first half double crochet. So that's where we want slip stitch to join the round into. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch there, and then we're going to turn. So it looks a bit bumpy here and it's a bit difficult to see, but I find the best way to look is to look for the extra bar of that half double crochet, and then you know that the slip stitch that you want to go into first for your first half double crochet is that one. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to go into this first slip stitch with a half double crochet. Okay, and then because this is a half double crochet, we're going to slip stitch into that one, Then we're going to half double crochet in the slip stitch and slip stitch in the half double crochet, and that is the repeat, and that is what you need to do all the way around. So I'm just going to check my numbers and work out how many rounds you need to do for each of the different sizes. So for the small pumpkin, you're going to do 5 rounds of crunch stitch. For the medium pumpkin, you're going to do 9 rounds of the crunch stitch, and for the large pumpkin, you're going to do 11 rounds. So that's 5, 9 and 11 rounds. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've come to the end of my round 11, or whatever round that you finished your crunch stitches on, and I'm just slip stitching into that first stitch. We're not going to turn now, we're going to carry on. So you want your tail end to be in the middle. If you want your pumpkin to be taller, then you can carry on doing more of the textured crunch stitch, but try to remember to end on an odd number of rows, so a total of an odd number. Okay, so I've slip stitched in and we're not turning now, we're just going to chain 1, and then we are going to work into that first half double crochet stitch that's there, and then we are going to do 8 altogether, 8 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to do a single crochet 2 together. I'm going to use the invisible decrease stitch, so we're going to insert our hook into the front loop of the next stitch and then into the front loop of the stitch after that. Okay, and that makes an invisible decrease, and we're just going to repeat that around. So we're going to do 8 single crochets, and then an invisible decrease, or a single crochet 2 together, whatever you want to call it, just like that. And this will start our first decrease round. Six, 7, 8, and this is our final decrease. So we should now have 54 stitches again. So obviously if you're doing the medium or the small pumpkin, you're not going to be doing this round or the next round, but for the large one you are. So now we're going to move on to the next round, round 23 if you're on the large pumpkin. So we're going to do 7 single crochets and then a invisible decrease. 4, 6, 7, and then here's decrease. Now it's totally up to you when you start stuffing your pumpkin, but certainly before you get to the end, otherwise you won't be able to get the stuffing in. So this is the last decrease of this round, and we should now have 48 stitches. So if you are, and don't forget to slip stitch into that first stitch to carry on. Remember, we're not turning now, we're just carrying on straight through. If you're making the medium pumpkin, this is where you are going to join back in with your rounds. So we're going to be doing 6 single crochets, and then we're going to be doing our decrease. 2, 4, 5, 6, and then our decrease, and continuing that all the way around. Right, that's coming to the end of that round. I'm not going to give them round numbers from now on because you might be making a different size, but we'll slip stitch into that first stitch to join, and then we are going to, so that was 42 stitches at the end of that round, so now we're going to do 5 single crochets. So chain 1 first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet 2 together. This is the end of this round, and at the end of this round you should have 36 stitches going around. And if you're making the small pumpkin, this is where you will join us back in, so you will already have 36 stitches. So now we're going to be doing the next round, which will take us down to 30. So we do 4 single crochets. Oops, yarn's got all caught up again. And then we'll do our single crochet 2 together. Okay, so I've finished off this round and I've got now 30 stitches around, and I have also started stuffing my pumpkin. I thought that was a good point to start stuffing, and now I'm going to move on to the next round, which will take us down to 24 stitches. So we are going to do 3 single crochets and then a single crochet 2 together all the way around. And this one got a bit wobbly now since stuffing it, making it a bit harder to crochet, which is why I don't like stuffing it too early, so it makes it more difficult. Probably make it closer to the screen as well for you guys. Oh well, do my best. Was that my, yeah. Is that the end? Yeah, that looks like the end. So we should have 24 stitches now. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. There we go. Right, so we're just going to carry on now doing the decreases. So this round is going to be 2 and then together. Now when you stuff your pumpkin, you don't want to be over stuffing it, because it doesn't need to be really firm or anything, and it gives you a bit more squidge when you're doing the shaping afterwards. To excuse the kids all shouting in the background, apologies for that. Unfortunately I didn't get the filming finished before they came home, and there's not much chance during the holidays. But we are nearly there. And then I can show you how to do the segments as well, which I really like doing. And then we just need to make a leaf and a stalk, if you like. Right, and that's the end of that round. Slip stitch into the first stitch to fasten off, to join, sorry, and then chain 1. Now we're going to do 1 single crochet and then a single crochet 2 together. So this will take us from 18 stitches down to 12, and then we'll have 1 more round left. And at this point you want to add any extra stuffing that you still need to put in. I got round now. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah. So slip stitch into that first stitch again, and then our final round we're just going to be doing single crochet 2 together all the way around. So this lovely invisible decrease. Did I want any more stuffing? Possibly. Oops, just grab a little bit more. You can still squidge it in if you leave it a bit late like me. But as I said, you don't need loads anyway. I think that's enough. So I just use toy stuffing there, but as I said before, you can use leftover yarn or old stuffed toys that you've got at home or whatever. Right, 2, 4, we're not quite there, are we? One more, I think. It's always a bit fiddly, that last little bit. Right, so there we are. Right, so now you need to cut quite a long end of yarn, so I would say maybe about 50 centimeters, and pull your yarn all the way through. Then we're going to thread the end onto a needle, and we're going to weave in and out of these ends to close up the hole. So I'm just going to go in and out of each of those top stitches, and you can see that's closing up that top hole. Okay, so that's closed that up. Just give it a squidge to even it out. Then what we're going to do is you're going to take your yarn and you're going to wrap it around the outside of your pumpkin, and you're going to poke your needle down through the other side. So it's going to come up, and you need to kind of feel where it's coming up and make it come up in the center of your pumpkin again. And you're going to pull that through, and you're going to pull it quite tight to make that segment shape. Okay, and you're going to keep doing that all the way around, and it's kind of up to you how many segments you make. I quite like doing an odd number, so I quite like 7 as a number, but where's my end gone? It really is up to you, but make sure you pull it tight so it pulls it down, you can see, and then just keep working around your pumpkin. Hopefully I've got a long enough bit of yarn left over to do this. You need more than you think you do. So I think that's my final one there. And then you're going to go back through again. Make sure you've got it all as tight as you want it to be, with your segments of your pumpkin all nice. And then you're just gonna, so I'm holding that tight whilst I weave my needle through, because we need to weave it through to secure it now, so that it's not going to come undone. So do a few stitches through this middle bit backwards and forwards. It's a bit awkward, but essential. So there you go. There is your large pumpkin with all the lovely yummy texture around the outside. So I've got the 3 sizes. You can make a tower, you can have them stacked up next to each other, however you like. Right, let's make the stem for our pumpkin now. I'm going to be using paint box yarns in Simply Aran. That's just what I've got in my stash. You only need a really tiny amount, so you can literally use whatever you've got in your stash. So I'm going to start with a slip knot on my hook. and then I'm going to chain 15. Okay, so then I am going to turn my, you don't have to work into the back bumps. I like working into the back bumps, but you don't have to, so you can just work into your normal, into the front of the chain as normal. And I'm just going to work 3 half double crochet, so that's US. Obviously I've been doing this whole tutorial in US, so I'm going to do 3 into each chain. So yarn over, insert your hook into the chain, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. So you do 3 into every single chain all the way along. And once you've done this, we are just going to attach it onto our pumpkin, and then we'll be finished. And you can make as many as you want in all different sizes. If you want to make different sizes or use it different yarn, you can do. It's just following the increase pattern that we've been doing the whole time, and it's quite easy to make all different sizes. And if you use a chunkier yarn, like a chunky or bulky weight and a larger hook size, then you're going to get a bigger pumpkin anyway. You can make it like a cushion kind of size, which would be very cool. You can see already that my stem's starting to curl up as I do more stitches into the chain. It can be a bit tricky to find the holes because they get all hidden by the other stitches, but just take your time doing it. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please hit subscribe and watch some more of my lovely videos. I would love to share more patterns with you. All of my patterns are free to view on my blog as well as free to watch on YouTube. If you want to have a copy to take home with you and to keep forever, to print out and write notes on, then you can also buy the premium PDF, which includes extra schematics and diagrams and things. You can buy those on Etsy or on Ravelry, and all the links are in the description to the YouTube video. Right, I am coming to the end of this now. I think I've just got a couple more to do. Yeah, just got to get into that last chain. Sorry, I can't get into it. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to cut my yarn off and leave a little bit of a tail to sew it onto my pumpkin now. You might need to rejig it a bit just to make it curl round right. There you go. There's your little curly stem. So you're going to get your pumpkin, and we are going to just sew it on to the end here, like that. So you join it on, so just weave in and out however you like, sew in any loose ends, and then you are finished with your pumpkin. So thank you so much for watching. As I said, I hope you liked it, and I'll see you again soon.